Hello everyone, welcome back to Glitz and Glitter. So today is the day you guys have been waiting for a very long time. I decided to do it today. We're going to keep it simple, one project, no extras, because what I have in store for you, a lot of you want to know how to do it. So I've only made a couple. I'm no pro, but I'm going to show you how I do it. And I'm going to turn this box mold into a blinged out diamond crystal box with all the facets, just like I did on, I made a couple myself on my X tool. I could go a lot of different ways on this. You could design your own if you have an X tool and build your own mold, or you can start with one that you already have. So since most of you don't have an X tool, I wasn't going to go that route. So this is a pretty simple one to do, and you can take any mold that you have, change it around, and make your own mold. That's what we're going to do today. I decided, even though I'm going to cover this completely with gemstones, I'm going to still use a color. I want to use a color I've never used before, and this is the Rolio Turquoise. Why not? Why pour clear when you could put a color in there? Plus, it's easier to see when you're putting the gemstones on. Now, I'm not going to obviously cover up this edge because these two fit together. They have like a jagged edge. So when it's demolded, I'm just going to cover the exterior of this one. It's just kind of a simple one to show you guys how to make your own crystal molds. You know, the ones with all like the facets in them. I hope you know what I'm talking about. If not, stick around. You're going to know what I'm doing. So we're going to go on this video from beginning to end. So we're going to make the molds. We're going to bling it out. And then I'm going to let Don take over and show you how he makes the actual molds. And then we're going to cast the mold to show you. So we're going to go through the entire process today. In real life, this is going to take many, many days. And I will explain why over a period of time, over the period of the video. So for you, obviously, it's not that long. But in real life, just expect this to take even a couple of weeks, just because you have to let things cure for certain amounts of time, depending on the products that you use. So first, I'm just going to get this poured. I'm going to grab 5 ounces of resin and mix it up with the Rolio.
Brushes in hand and the world is my stage.
I've already had a complete change of plans. As I'm stirring my resin, I'm realizing I cannot do this particular box. So don't buy this box to make a crystal, because this is going to be the top. And you cannot have that as the top if you're going to make a crystal mold out of it, because you cannot get that under silicone. Obviously, you won't be able to mold that. So this one is out of the question. So I'm frantically trying to find something quickly, because I have resin mixed, even though I could have just poured the box. But I found this little one I've never made. This has been sitting in my to-do list for a while. So I'm going to pour this one because I'm pretty sure this one is the proper way. This is going to be my bottom that you're not going to see, so we can cast this one in silicone. I hope I'm making sense, but if I'm not, you'll understand when I'm finished. So this one's clearly going to take a lot less than 5 ounces. So I'll do something with the extra, but like I said, I don't want to get into the extras because this video could possibly be kind of long with all the steps that we are doing. I'm just going to go ahead and color it just to make it a color. Check out Rolio's Turquoise and we'll see what color it is. I know I did it on my Rolio video, but I haven't made anything out of it. I can't get the cap back on. There we go. So be very aware of your mold. You should probably cast it at least one time before you do that. I haven't cast the other one. I just received it. So yeah, glad I caught that while I was stirring. And this one should be perfectly fine. And it doesn't matter if there's anything in here, because like I said, we're covering the whole entire thing with some glitter. So if you have a bubble remover or a vacuum chamber, I highly recommend that you use it, because you don't want any bubbles in this. You kind of want a really good cast if you're going to make yourself an original. And if you do get bubbles, you're going to want to either re-pour it or fix the bubbles, because you don't want to recast that in the silicone. Okay, I'm going to get this in the vacuum chamber.
Glitz and glitter, lighting up the night.
So again, prevent bubbles the best that you can, because if they're in a spot that you're not going to cover with your gemstones, you will see it in your final product. So we're going to be very diligent and make sure this is almost a perfect casting. So if you do have an X tool, obviously you can design your own mold on acrylic discs or whatever, acrylic sheets. I am going to dome that. I don't see any bubbles up underneath the edges. That should be good. And then, so acrylic sheets, you wouldn't have to worry about this step, but most of you guys don't have that capability of creating your own. So this is the next best way. I'm just going to fill this up. Maybe this one will take the 5 ounces. Who knows? But I'm going to pour slow because these walls are thin. Oh yeah, it's not going to take 5 ounces. I want all the bubbles to come out from these edges. Like I said, it's very important. I don't see anything there. And I'm just going to dome this one as well, because it will shrink. So you want the best casting that you possibly can get, especially if you plan on selling them. If you plan on selling them, you need to do this pretty perfectly. If you're not going to sell them, then it doesn't matter if you have little bubbles here and there. It won't hurt anything if you're just going to use it for your own purposes. Okay. That's it for that. I'm going to, I'll obviously use my extras, but not for this video. Oops, I just dipped that in my, my lighter. Oh no. Okay. All right, let's get this unmolded in just a second, and then we'll move on to the next step. It is cured and ready to come out. I did make an extra. I do want to show you I didn't waste my resin, so I made this cross out of it, and then I just painted the hearts on there with the blue metallic marker. But I don't want to focus on extras today because we have several steps for this. So here's a little box, and we're just going to take it out and make sure we don't have any flaws that have to be fixed. So this top is a little raised in the center, which is fine. Just make sure you pick something you can work with. I don't see any bubbles anywhere. And the color's pretty, although it came out a little, I don't know. I have to see the powder. Maybe it was this green. I thought it was more tealy, but I think it was this color. Okay. And here's the box. Now make sure before you do anything, everything's gonna fit together. Like this one needs to fit together before I do anything, or I'm not going to. This side needs to be pushed out before it completely hardens, and it will fit. But like I said, if I can't fit it together, okay. Oh, no, it didn't. Maybe I need to trim. Let me trim those edges. I'm gonna get this to fit together, and then we will move on. But until I can get this to fit, I am not moving on. I got it to fit, so it's snapped together pretty tightly. I just sanded down this little tiny edge. It does fit together really, really good. So if I can get this all beautiful, it'll be a great little box. So at this point, you're just gonna pick your gemstones. Now, when you shop for your gemstones, whether you do it in person or online, make sure that they're shiny. They have to have a shiny surface. Like I have an entire container, all different sizes, all different shapes, all different textures. I have these shapes. I have tons. I even have these that came. So what you want to make sure is that the shine is, that's what you need, because whatever you cast in the silicone is what you're going to have on your final surface. So if some of them are dull or scratched or whatever, see some of these have blemishes on them, you don't want to use them. So you want to make sure that each piece can be cleaned nicely and not have any blemishes on them. So at that point, all you're going to do, I'm going to use B7000 glue. I'm going to just decorate this box however you want it. You can do the inside if you want to. I don't know that I'm going to do the inside of this one. I think I'm just going to stick to the outside. And then mold it that way. So that way we have, I don't know, I might do the bottom. I'll think about it as I'm doing it. Like I said, this is really tight and I want to make sure it's going to fit good, but it should be fine. I did have to stretch these sides out when I unmolded it in order to get it in there. So you don't have to do a box. You can do any piece you want, but if you're doing a box, that's one thing to keep an eye out for. So basically, now you're just going to look at all your stones, come up with a pattern. If you want a centerpiece stone, maybe like one of these, work your way out in a pattern, or you could just do them randomly of ones that fit in interlocking. Like these pieces have all different shapes and sizes. And you can just make a random, maybe I'll do that on the inside bottom. I've never done a random pattern before. I typically try to work with some sort of a pattern. They have flower ones. They have all different things. So at this point, we're going to just take our time. Oops, I need a larger tray. Get a big tray. Get yourself a wax pencil. You need a little spoon in order to scoop things out. You might need several trays depending on what you're working with. And then you just shake them. If they're not flipped over, you just shake the tray and they will eventually flip over. So like I said, we're just going to, I'm not going to put glue in. I'm just going to show you because I'm going to put you on quite a fast forward. This is going to take me quite some time. So if I do decide to do the center, you would work from the center and work your way out. That way you have a decent pattern unless you're going random. If you're going random, then start wherever you want. Just try to make sure that they fit kind of closely together. All right, so that is step 2. I'm gonna get busy. I'll meet you on the other side. Step 2 is finished. It took hours upon hours upon hours to do this, so be patient. I will give you a tip though, and don't worry about colors. Colors don't matter. Silicone doesn't know the difference between the colors. Your finished product doesn't know the difference between the colors. When I was filling in all the gaps, so I put all the big ones on first, you could see better on the red side. So I placed the big ones where I wanted them, and then I filled in all the gaps with really the smallest stone that I had, and I started doing them with the clear diamond-like ones. It was so hard to see what was up and what was down that little. Don't do that. Pick a colored stone in the same size so you know the silver is the back side and the red is the front side. It went much faster after I did that. I went around the whole bottom edge, the whole top edge. I did the whole top of the jar. I do need a knife to pop the top off. It is a very tight fit. There we go. And then there's the inside of the jar. I did not do the inside walls or anything, just the bottom of the jar. I didn't fill the bottom of the jar in with any of the filler beads, and I didn't fill this one. I thought it looked fine the way it is. Now, if you get glue somewhere you don't want to see it, just take a little cotton swab and a little bit of alcohol. I see a string right there. And just get the glue off, or you're going to get that in your silicone. Now, this was a really hard one. It was like a really tiny box. And that glue, let me tell you, if that glue wasn't the strongest glue, I would not use it. But because it's the strongest glue, I'm going to use it. Those strings drive me wild. And then when it gets on your fingers, I ended up putting a finger cont on because it gets on your nails. You can't get the glue off. So that's how you know it's strong. It doesn't even come off your skin very easily. So next step is to let this sit for 24 to 48 hours. If you don't let this glue off gas for 24 to 48 hours, when you put this under silicone, the silicone won't cure. And then you're inhibiting the actual glue from drying properly. So just let it sit out, let the gases, I'm going to leave the lid off, I'm going to let all the gases from the glue just release, and then we won't have any inhibition. Is that the word? Is that a word? Inhibiting. We're not going to have any inhibiting of silicone not curing. I don't know if that even makes sense. So if you do cast something in silicone before whatever it is not done, say for instance UV resin. I've learned my lesson multiple times on UV resin. If you make something out of UV resin, say you make this and you want to make a mold of this, you cannot put silicone on UV resin for 3 to 4 weeks. That's how long it takes for UV resin to off gas. Your silicone will not cure. It will be sticky and it will be wet and it just doesn't work. So 3 to 4 weeks UV resin. So remember that if you're doing something with UV resin and silicone. So I did AI that question for B7000. It's telling me that it will off gas 24 to 48 hours. So we're just going to let this sit for 24 to 48 hours uncovered. And then I'm going to put Don on and he's going to show you, because a lot of you want to see him how he makes a mold. So he's going to show you how we make molds here at Glitz and Glitter.
Hello, everyone.
I have handed off the jar to Mr. Glitz.
Isn't that how you started off?
It's already started. Let's just keep moving.
So this is what Mrs. Glitter built.
They know. They just saw that.
I know. Well, I'm showing them. So first step is to make sure that everything's clean and there's no little marks on here because it's going to show up in the silicone.
It's been 48 hours.
Since it off-gassed.
So hopefully it's long enough time for this particular glue.
So I don't see any marks or anything on the silicone.
On the resin?
On the resin, on the jewels and stuff. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on here.
Are you going to clean it first?
I already cleaned it.
Well, they don't know how you're cleaning everything.
All right, so
I told them to tell you every step of the way.
I'm not a teacher. I'm more of a just go get it done.
So especially with the jewels, you're going to want them clean. Otherwise, the facets won't be shiny. You don't want any, like, fingerprints or glue prints or anything.
The gloves.
Wear gloves when you're doing it so you're not touching it. And your oils, you don't want your oils on there.
So that piece looks good. So we'll go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the back of this and stick it in there.
We have our mold housings made by a 3D printer.
This is, well, we
didn't have one today for this particular
so I
jar.
had to kind of make one here.
So he kind of built a barrier. So if this jar comes out good and we do put it in the store, I'm going to have another 2 housings made for this. So what are you doing now?
Now I'm examining this one, make sure there's no marks on it. Because as soon as there's a mark on it, it's going to show up on the, when we cast it. So just a nice cleaning. Looking at the light, it really helps you see them too.
You can, yeah, go at an angle, you can see all the glare. With the glare of the light will help you a lot.
Yeah, a couple of big jewels. Where's the camera at? Can you see it? A couple of big jewels down in here. So I got to make sure they're clean. No fingerprints, no glue. And that all looks good.
You can use several things for your base. We started using regular copy paper.
And it works great because it peels right off.
Amazing, and you have a flat bottom. You can use the sticky paper if you want to. The only problem with the sticky paper is you have wrinkles on your, which will be your top. So he's just hot gluing it to the paper.
Yep.
Just so it won't float, because that will definitely float. Some things that are heavy you don't have to glue. But
I got to go around the outside of my mold. I did glue this piece in. Like I said, this is just a temporary mold. And
we've already, yeah, we're going to call it into the 3D print guy as soon as we know if it's going to work today.
And you got to watch the glue gun because you'll get glue strings. So you got to make sure they don't get dropped into your process.
So this isn't going to be the most beautiful silicone mold because of what we had to do, but what you get, if you get one, will look a little bit different than this one.
Yeah, you're not going to have...
And you can use anything. You don't need a 3D printer. You can make one out of like Tupperware bottles or Tupperware containers or anything that you can find. Cardboard, Legos, whatever you can find. You can even buy the ones that are pre-built that you just put together from Let's Resin. They have some. You just clip them together, but you're going to want to run your hot glue around that.
All right, so we're all glued inside. I did run a bead of glue on the bottom of this so the silicone wouldn't bleed into the other one, which we just don't want silicone loss. So everything's glued in.
Well, we start the glue process first so it'll have time to cool down and harden while we're mixing the silicone. So we were discussing what kind of silicone we're going to use for this one.
We're going to use the large bottle because it'll come out.
This is 15A. We use several different. We have 3 or 4 different ones we use. So the number is your hardness. So 15A is about medium hardness, which generally works nicely on most things.
The medium, so it's a little bit more flexible.
This is 10A or 8 to 10A, and then 0A is your softest, and that's for 3D mold making.
Yep.
So we decided on 15A, so we're going to pour that.
So we've got our little timer because you need to mix this for at least
4 minutes.
At least 4 minutes. So we're going to mix up, we're going to try 15 ounces. Like I said, we haven't poured this one yet, so we're going to give it a shot.
And Let's Resin silicone is by weight, not by volume. So make sure you have an accurate scale. We happen to get this one in Happy Mail that we love using every day.
So that's on ounces. So I'm going to mix up 7.5 of this A and 7.5 of the B. If we can get the numbers.
If you're over a 1/10 or 2/10 of an ounce, it's not that big of a deal, but we try to get... He's nervous.
No, it gulps out sometimes, so I got...
Well, just do 8 and 8 then, and we'll use it.
All right.
So we have many things in this room that we can mold, so if we do have extras, and you should do the same thing in case you mix too much, have something small ready, and I'll have a little flower.
Like we'll have our flowers. So we'll glue that in, a little piece of pipe. This is just a piece of 2-inch PVC from Lowe's that I cut up. And it fits perfect, so we use that as the mold.
I'll work on that one while he mixes up the resin, or the silicone. We're always interchanging that word.
So, and then, of course, the B. So now we went from 15 ounces to 16.
16.2 would be accurate, but
Yep.
16. And then if you go over again because they're mixed, then you have to add more of the next one, the other
It
one.
makes it hard sometimes because sometimes the bottle, it'll like gulp and it'll push out a big.
Beautiful. 16.1.5. That's close.
I can get
He's
it.
gonna get it.
I can get it. Well, 16.2.
I'm just gonna glue down this little flower just in case we need it.
All right, and then the long 4 minutes of mixing.
We're gonna put you on a fast forward, but what are you using?
I'm using a paint mixer that I've got from Lowe's. I was using a Let's Resin mixer, but
It wasn't made for silicone.
yeah, it wasn't made for especially like we start mixing the medium, it gets
It's very thick.
right. So I got just a standard paint mixer from Lowe's, and I use one of my cordless drills and a timer.
And you can hand mix it too, but he doesn't like to hand mix it.
No way. So when I'm mixing this, I like to go up and down the sides because you got to make sure you get the sides all done. You might have stuff sticking on the sides and the bottom that you didn't stir up. So we hit our 4 minutes, so let me get the extra off of the spatula here, mixer. All right, and then what you want to do is go in with your spatula and just scrape all the sides. So I'll do the sides first and then run it across the bottom, kind of mix it up just to make sure you didn't mix anything or you didn't not mix anything
If
up.
it is not mixed, it will not cure. And you will have little spots of wet resin or wet silicone that will never cure. So this is like a very important step.
And so when I'm mixing, I take the paint mixer that I've got and I run up and down the sides like this, scraping stuff off the sides, and I'll hit the bottom. So it just helps a little bit. But then you scrape all the sides and the bottom like that.
And he's got his own vacuum chamber.
I do, and I even know how to use it.
That's where we're going next.
In her studio where colors blend, Michelle's creations have no end. From coasters bright to jars that gleam, she brings to life each shining dream. Glitz and glitter, watch them dance in Michelle.
I just remembered she had colored this top. The ideal way would have been to leave that clear because there is a lip underneath here where that fits into here. So this is just a dental tool that I had and I bent it a little bit extra. There's this lip that now when I pour this, I have to run this around there and make sure we don't have any bubbles that come out. So I'm going to pour this one first, and that one I'm just going to pour a little bit in at a time. And
Ideally, we work with glass so you could see through them, but because I made this one, I wasn't thinking about his portion.
thanks.
And now, oh, we might need more anyway, so. Do that one while you're on camera. We can make more later, just to show them
What, the lip?
the lip.
Well, that one's pretty good right there.
So he has a little tick stick, we call it,
Yep.
with a line, and we make sure that it goes to that line for a nice solid base.
Yep. And then we have to watch the bubbles. So this one, I'm going to pour enough, just hopefully enough. We know now it's more than 16 ounces.
And then when the mold is actually finished, you wait 24 hours before you pour resin in there.
So
And that's a really, really small
Yep, see
lip.
that bubble that just came out right there? Can they see that on the camera?
Maybe I'm going to zoom in the best I can, but a bubble did come out.
And big one right there. More, see that?
I don't know if this one's going to hit the store or not, just because of this purpose. Sometimes when we have jars like this, we have to remake the lid multiple times, and there's no profit margin left when you have to continually make them. So we'll see how hard this one is to do before it hits the store. That, or I would have to make it clear and do the entire top again.
And so the trick with these, when you have a lip that fits inside of there, is just to pour enough just to fill in that gap underneath the lid here, where it sits in there. So there's no more bubbles coming out up there. I don't have any bubbles in there. Now I have nothing coming out of there, so I think we're good. Of course, we'll find out when we...
Yeah, we'll find out when we unmold it. All right, go ahead and pour.
I gotta mix up some more.
Oh, you got it all? Okay, well, I'll let him mix it and I'll bring it right back.
So we are back again.
We went through the same thing. 4 minutes of stirring, vacuum chambered.
Yep.
And we made up a little extra, so...
I did check again. I ran my perimeter, make sure I didn't have any bubbles hiding in there. Hopefully it stays that way, but we'll find out when we unmold it.
And we have enough for a little flour, probably. When we're finished with this and they're unmolded and everything, then we weigh them to see how many ounces of silicone we actually use, so we don't have to go through the guessing game every time that we make a mold.
And we got our chart up there, and
we have a list of what we make, how many ounces, which mold housing it goes in.
You want to explain the heating mats while I'm pouring this flour?
So these are the original heat mats that I had prior to buying the glass one that I use every day now, and these are underneath glass cutting boards because they warp. But if you put glass over them, they won't warp. I don't turn the heat mats on until it starts getting solid because it can produce bubbles. If it heats too quickly, it can produce bubbles coming from the bottom that may not rise to the top, and then you're going to have a void in your mold, which has happened to me a couple times. So generally, I don't use heat at all unless I'm in a hurry or I don't want to wait 24 hours to mail your product out. So then I'll throw the heat on it for several hours to help speed up that 24-hour process. So you don't have to use heat. We just do it for certain times, but most of the time we don't. This will set up in probably 3 hours and it will be ready to unmold. So he's going to constantly check it for bubbles coming up. You just blow them right off the top. They'll pop right away. We don't spray any alcohol or anything like that.
So we use a glass beaker, and when I started, I used pour alcohol, but you'll go through rag after rag after rag drying this. So we learned if you just set it down there, it hardens up, and you just peel it right out.
Peel it out. So yeah, there's some bubbles in that one that need to come out. And that's it. So we're just going to let this sit for the next few hours, and then I'll show you how we get it out, how we trim it.
Clean all your stuff, wipe it down.
And then we'll wait 24 hours, and then we're going to pour it.
All right, so this is a good example. We're doing the heart mold, and this heart also has a lip around it. So again, with a little pick tool here, I'm going to pour just enough to go around that. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. I'll come back to it, pour the heart base. Grab my little tick tool. Good there. That leaves a little bit more. And that's good. So now we'll check our little heart mold. If you look, you can see around all these edges. That looks, I know there's a bubble in the mold itself right there. That one will come out. That's just
In the glass.
yeah, in the glass. And when you had a clear one, you could see when there's bubbles in there. There's no bubbles in this at all. So,
of course not.
so that worked out great. Don't get to show you how to remove them on that, but hey, that's just an example. So let me go ahead and finish pouring this one. That's good.
Everything is the same concept. Glue it down to your paper, unless like you build with an X tool. This one was built with an X tool, and I made the mold housing. It's all in one. So all you have to do is pour in there. We don't have to glue anything down, no paper involved. So we're just gonna pour those, and then now we'll really see you on demold. Okay, it's been what, 3 hours? 4 hours.
Hard.
They're hard, they're ready to come out, so he just peels off the paper. Sometimes it comes off better than this time. This time it doesn't look like it's coming off that great.
No.
Will that glue not be peeled like it normally does? Sometimes our glue will pop off, and sometimes it doesn't. Oh, I got it started.
Hands, they find their chance. Resin flows and sparkles play, crafting beauty day by day. Bowls that shimmer, blooms that shine, each piece crafted so divine, with silver hues and shades of blue. Her art reflects a vibrant view. Glitz and glitter, watch them dance. In Michelle's hands, they find their chance. Resin flows and sparkles play, crafting beauty day by day. Forms that shimmer, blooms that shine, each piece crafted so divine, with silver hues and shades of blue. Her art reflects a vibrant.
You one at a time. We got that one.
And there it is. So you just
How
take
did
your
the-
little cuticle cutters and trim any silicone that you need to trim.
Any bowls?
I don't see any bubbles.
Which
So going around that, worked with the little knife thingy, not knife thingy, but the little, whatever you call it, dental tool. Now, sometimes the paper comes right off. You don't have to use paper, but we do because we like this flat surface. And then sometimes you have to work at it. But he got this one wet. He took this to the sink, ran a butter knife around the edge of the mold housing
it came out good.
with a little soapy water and popped it out that way. Then you just take your little tool, which I can't see the edge because I'm just going to pop it out. Just like demolding. Oh, looks like I lost a couple of my little jewels, so I do replace them. But it did cure after 48 hours, so that's good to know about the B7000. Everything's still intact.
Which jewels did you lose?
I lost two teeny tiny little ones right there. Two little baby ones. And there might not have been even any glue underneath them because they were so small. I could have very well didn't have glue under them. So I'm just going to take this, trim all the way around the edge. Then we got to let this sit for 24 hours. If you have a heat mat, that will greatly reduce that time, but there's no rush, so it's no big deal. We'll get all this paper off after the fact. And then I just trim the edges. This isn't the best. This isn't the mold housing I will use permanently. It was just a temporary. So this is not exactly the one that you would get if you purchased it. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit 24 hours. We'll pour it and see just how pretty it'll come out. I waited 24 hours before I poured, and I just poured clear basically with a couple drips of light blue just to give it a little bit of a tone. And let's see what it looks like, you guys. Oh, I got a bubble there. But look at that box. That looks so pretty. I just wanted to do a light color. Let me see if we could even see the blue. Yeah, see the blue in there. Just so you can see it in alcohol ink, because that's the way it's going to look the best. Now, of course, I got a bubble right there, but other than that, it's looking pretty good. Let's get the box out. Oh, it's still a little soft. I didn't let it sit 24 hours and I didn't use a heat mat, so I'm too excited to get it out. Now, the only thing is you'll need to, when you get this one, if you get this one, put the lid on to make sure it fits right away. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. What do you think? Oh, it's so cute. Let me see. Okay, yeah, the lid fits. Just make sure, you know, when the sides are soft enough, I do need to trim the bottom. Like I said, hand cut molds, that's what happens. But that is so pretty. I love it. I'm working on a couple others. I'm almost done with one other one. But I am working on a couple other, I'm not going to do videos on them. This is the video you guys have been waiting for. Just trying to look at everything and make sure everything's good. Oh, I love it. It would be so nice in other colors, even clear. But look at the inside. I like that the walls are not done because that gives you a little bit more space. Not that there's a ton of space in here, but that's it. I will trim this bottom edge. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned how to make your own crystal edged molds. Not really crystal edged, but crystal. Not even crystal. This is a diamond mold. I just want to make sure it's still a little soft. I want to make sure my lid fits. But don't just let it sit there with the lid on before it's cured. Like, put it in and then take it out without moving it. Let it cure completely. Because if you leave the lid on while it's curing completely, it's going to stick to it and you'll never get it back off. So don't do that. So thanks, guys. I hope this answered a lot of questions. I know a lot of you have been waiting to see a video like this. What do you think of the color? It's like a baby blue. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh, I love this new mold. I'm going to make sure it gets in that store for you. Stick around for the pictures. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed day, everyone. Bye.
Glitz and glitter paint her way. She lights up hearts come what may. With a brush of faith she starts. Jesus whispers through her art. Patience blooms in every hue. Her love for viewers shines so true. Shimmer sparkles in her eyes. A radiant soul under bright skies. Glitz and glitter, Michelle, a story. Her colors tell faith and love in every part. Jesus guides her shining heart.